So DMS is now listening to the Aeon Noir off of the Zähl amp. One of the best solid-state amplifiers in the world.
Yeah. You get a taste of some of the music I like too.
Someone's gonna freak out with the fact I'm wearing that. Seal's good.
Did you like it?
I did like it quite a bit.
That's wild.
Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it?
That's fantastic. The treble, it's like an extra. It's more detailed than the treble.
It's like a sifted sizzle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Here, I'm gonna hand this to you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm DMS. We're here with Michael Zähl and the HM1 reference headphone amplifier. I just listened to it on both the DCA Stealth and the Aeon Noir. Aeon Noir headphone I'm very familiar with, and I really wanted to sit and talk about this thing because it is a really cool amplifier coming from the design of a professional background in audio. So Michael, thank you for having me here. I would love to know what brought you to this point, because I know you have a background in mixing consoles and pro audio. What brings you from there to here?
Well, the point is that headphones have made fantastic improvements over the last decade. And in former times, headphones were in the studio just for monitoring reasons. Just during recording, we use them for monitoring.
Right.
And nowadays, with that quality that's available, they are often used as a mixing reference or even a mastering reference. And at the same time, the demand for more power, for more precision from the amplifier side is growing with the quality of headphones. Mm-hmm. The headphones can only sound as good as the amplifier will drive them. Mm. We are producing usually for the professional market, and we thought about an amplifier design which could be of same use for high-enders as for the professional market. So, and this is why the HM1 came out. And we went the way that we said we don't fix a budget first and then develop. But we said, with this thought, having the high-end market in the background, we thought, let's first make the best non-compromised product that's possible, and then talk about what it should cost. So you have two stereo inputs, input A and input B.
Okay.
With two volume controls, so you can either listen to one or the other, so you can switch over, or you can listen to both and mix them, or probably cross-feed.
That is useful.
But if you want to toggle in between the two, it's really important that you can set levels first to exactly the right, and then toggle.
I can definitely see from the feature set that we talked about that this is very useful for professionals, but also for audiophiles. I like that there's a bass shelf or a treble shelf option. I like that you can mix in different sources. The specific thing that caught my interest the most, though, was the feature where you said you can switch between Class A and then Class A with feedback. So you kind of do get the choice between the two. I think it kind of shows a bit of an appreciation for more just the musical side of things as well.
Class A is something which is very common in the high-end world. On the mixing console circuitry, pure Class A nowadays, with all the options that you expect from an analog console, is not really realistic. We don't want to bake eggs on a mixing console.
Right.
It should sort of be in a reasonable size. But the point is that also on the professional side, we do not understand analog as something vintage. We really look for the latest components that we can get on the market, for the latest production methods. So there have been lots of improvements on the component side as well. And I do not agree that if it has to sound good, it has to be old. Right? It certainly has certain qualities. If you have every decade had its certain qualities, but I understand the quality of a unit. It should not color the sound. It should be realistic. So if I want to mix something as a mixing engineer or as a mastering engineer, I want to have to do with reality. I want to know how it really is and not how it is colored by my equipment. If I want to color it, I add a coloring piece of equipment as an option. So we use technology which is more or less puristic from the sound aspect, and so this is in here as well. But it was clear we need a Class A design. Me personally, I like feedback circuits, and I'm convinced if you do feedback right, it's really good.
Okay.
So there's not, for me, like Class A is first choice and feedback circuits are second choice. Definitely not. But here we wanted to combine both, so the user can decide what he wants to listen to. And in this thing, just to make clear, only the output stage is this pure Class A design. The rest, like all the preamplification, is our usual circuits from our professional world. My approach would be a real good recording sounds best as it is. Yeah. So if you have headphones which do not color the sound, which are absolutely precise, then you should have an amplifier which drives this as perfect as it can. That we really believe in, that reality is the best to listen to. But on the other hand, we added some sound processing here. So if somebody is fond of listening a bit more high end or a bit more low end or add a bit more ambience or not, we have here some a low EQ, a precision shelving filter with 3 steps up, 3 steps down, the same as a high shelf, and we have a special circuitry which is a stereo width control based on the mid-side technology, and with that you can widen the stereo image and you can narrow the stereo image or even switch to mono. And this gives the high-end user the possibility to match the sound to his personal reference, or even depending on the headphones that he uses, if he have headphones that tend in a direction to one or the other way, to do some treatment.
Kind of correct for that. Yeah. That's something that I've actually never seen before in an amplifier. I've seen some sort of like digital effects like that, but I've never seen a direct adjustment before.
And for our professional users, this is very perfect as well, because we see this as a control amplifier. So if you have a final mix and you want to check out, is it good or is it not good, and you play with these knobs, it's perfect if everything you do there makes it sound worse. Right? It's probably a bit simple expression, but that's what's behind it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very good if you have a final mix and you can like overemphasize the side signal and see, hey, what does it do? Or then you take the side signal away. It gives you a very clear orientation of where you probably could add something here and there, or same with the EQs.
It's almost like the ability to change your mixing environment.
Right. So it's both for both users. It's very it's a good option.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times there have been a pair of headphones where I wish I could just flip up the bass or flip it down a little bit or do slight tweaks. Another thing that I thought was interesting with this is that the transformer power supply is actually all separate down there, and there is a lot of options for switching this to different voltages for different countries. Usually the only time I see that is just one little switch up or down, but it looks like you have a lot going on here. I know it's nice to have power in a separate unit just for isolation purposes, but could you tell me a little bit more about like the design decision for placing this unit separately?
I mean, one is, of course, it's a strictly linear design. All the circuitry in there, also the power supply. Though there's no switch power supply, but it's a linear one, a straight power transformer. And of course, the straight power transformer needs all these settings. So if you want to use it worldwide, you need to be able to switch all the voltages. The mains transformer is remotely switched from the main unit, so there's no mains voltage going here. So we really have any interference coming from the main side, we cut between those two. So that's having a mains transformer in here would absolutely be not compatible to the quality approach that we have here. Before I forget, it is mainly a headphones amplifier, but we added line outputs to it. Mm-hmm. So there is a use for that as a preamplifier.
Actually, a question related to that: does the adjustments, can those also affect the line output?
Yes, completely.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Line output carries exactly the same signal which is fed into the power stage. So all your treatment will be on the line output. So if somebody would connect some active speakers there, he could have a small perfect setup, minimalistic setup, by probably as a home setup, connect the streamer to A, connect some analog source to B, active speakers there, headphones here, and in the front you have a switch where you can either drive a headphones output and line output at the same time, or just the headphones or just the line. Or you could, the line outputs, you also could add some recording device where whatever you mix here between A and B can be recorded.
Very easy to implement into a mixing setup. All right, well, Michael, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. This is a really cool amp. I hope to see more of these in the wild and sit down at some point and listen to one again. It's very, very cool. I appreciate what you're doing here.
Great. Thank you very much.